fishing against the best out there.
Someone's going to win, someone's going to lose.
Everybody wants to win. It's not that you want to see someone lose, you want to win.
They're the best at what they do and you want to beat the best.
Oh, yeah.
That is what fishing's all about.
Welcome to AFC, the pinnacle of tournament fishing in Australia, where the best anglers go head-to-head. AFC 14 is hosted across the Mackay region in northern Queensland. Round 1 commences at Eungella Dam, 100 kilometres west of Mackay.
Getting ready for the day. Wind's nice, so keen to get out there now and have a go. We autographed that last year after the announcement that we'd sort of taken it out. We were, yeah, on another level.
AFC 14, we're back at Eungella Dam. So I was here last season, I fished it before. This year I'm fishing with rookie Liam Carruthers, but he's no rookie as far as fishing goes, obviously. So we'll sort of play off each other better and hopefully we can put it over the Hobie.
All right, we're at Eungella, about to launch the boats. Just getting things tidy, ship shape, and yeah, gonna try and adapt to these weather conditions because it's a little bit breezier than we had anticipated, but that's a good thing.
Going out today as the AFC Rookie this year, mixed emotions. Certainly amped to try and do my best, but at the same time try and take in the moment. Just the journey to the first spot itself was something that you just had to take in, going what I believe to be fairly quick through a close proximity of a lot of timber. So to get to the first spot and make that first cast it's a feeling it's very hard to describe, but a feeling I enjoyed a lot.
So we went under the steeper hills to get out of the wind because we know that's where the shags will sit to get out of the wind overnight. There's not many in here.
Here are the rules and points guidelines for Eungella Dam. Anglers will fish a 4-hour limit. Their bag will be determined by their 4 longest fish. A legal fish must be caught to register a point. A bonus point will be awarded to the team that catches the longest fish per round. An additional bonus point will be awarded to the team that catches the longest barrow per round.
It's been a bit of a rush. Getting here, getting set up, getting out there this morning, to be brutally honest, I felt a little bit unprepared. We just went off last year's results. Started off, we had a plan to go upriver where we caught the bigger fish from last year. Hopefully get some early fish. 1 or 2 in this first spot would be nice just to settle the nerves. So give them a try, just hope they're 50s. We've relied on what we'd previously learnt and relied on our memory. Well, you're silly not to try what you did really well on last year first up. Bird poo. So we went up to the back of the bay and I threw this lure into this nice big shady looking tree and got the first one. Yep, come on. Didn't play up too bad, but yeah, got it down and good relief to get that first one on the board. You can sort of pick that spot and you know it's going to get eaten, just waiting, and then it does. Bit of a tussle. They're not the biggest, strongest fighters, but you've got to be ready for them.
I had a fair idea from last season where the birds would position because we're sort of essentially fishing under the shags. So I went across to that side because the wind was similar and they just weren't there. There was 6 or 7 probably in that particular bay. I said to Liam, we'll make our way to the back of it because that's where a majority of the small number were.
Just a couple in on the bank.
Watch it for a second.
Fishing with Dean, I consider myself pretty lucky to be the rookie going in with Dean Silvestor. He's got a lot of knowledge. There's no one better in Australia at the moment. So I was just trying to be essentially like a sponge and try and take in as much information as I could, but at the same time not be a burden to Dean.
Yep.
Watching him very closely, when he did get his first fish, I sort of knew the area where I had to aim and cast my lure, but also the speed of the retrieve for that time of day. it was a real good advantage fishing with Dean. Yeah, he's a really good mentor.
In the weed.
Well done, man.
It's only a little one, but he'll do for a start. I sort of felt a bit pressured today because Liam doesn't know the area, doesn't know the fish, and it was on myself to sort of pick locations and not so much put him onto the fish, but at least put him in the right spot so that he can do the best that he can do. So I'm worried about doing the best that I can do and getting us to a location that can be beneficial for both of us. Nice little sooty. See you later.
So fishing for me, it's more than a passion, it's more than a hobby. I live a very high tempo operational work life between Monday to Friday, given my role in the Royal Australian Navy. By the time I get to the weekend, I need an escape, and fishing to me is that escape. Without fishing, I don't think I'd be able to perform at my best at work. I'm very proud of what I do. I just ticked over 12 years last year. I joined when I was 17, so I was a very young bloke leaving home. 2015, I won the Brim Grand Final, and Steve Morgan asked me in my interview, he goes, mate, you've reached that pinnacle, you've qualified for AFC 2016. I was very, very mixed emotions then because I left for the Middle East on HMAS Perth in 2016 and served 6 months in the area of operations. I told Steve, I said, look, I understand that you've given me the opportunity, but unfortunately I do have to decline given that I do have a responsibility, and that definitely came first. I thought I'd lost it, and I already started making plans on how and what I was going to do to try and get myself in a potential position again to compete on the AFC. But to get the call up and for the AFC to be so understanding, I'm very grateful, and I'm definitely going to enjoy the experience to the max extent and give it my best. Yep. Jesus. Took a long time to eat today. Yeah. I dropped a fish early, and I know that was my poor angling. It was just, yeah, it lunged and it popped me. I know that was a good fish, so it hurt.
Mark lost a really good fish just after my first fish. Bit disappointed. We should have had 2 or 3 fish in that same little spot. So we moved on. We went looking for another spot we went to as well last year. It was quite good to us. You feel confident going to a new spot on a new arena. Straight away it's new, fresh water. So then we picked up and moved to a second spot.
I knew a little bay that I hadn't fished there since 2010, I think, but I had caught fish in it before. So I pulled up early to it. I was confident we would catch some fish, and that's where my second one came from up there.
Yeah, buddy. Nice work. I was actually watching the corner of my eye. I watched his rod go crack, and then bang, and it was on. Watched him load up on that.
Yeah.
Straight away again, straight on the net.
Not very big.
Something I was getting good at, confident with the net.
It's tiny.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, it's a contributor. It's a contributor.
Oh, my God.
Put the fish in the net, a lot smaller fish.
It was a tiny fish, it was 32 centimetres. Look at this thing.
We're looking at it and going, okay, that's how we do it, it's time to step up. Yep.
Up him, one. Get up him.
Holy hell, they hit hard.
Yeah, up him. Hold him up, yeah. Don't let him go back in there. Nice, just keep his head up.
That's a better fish.
Keep his head up. Keep his head up. That's it. Yes. Well done, mate.
No donut. Them sooties hit. That's all I can say. everyone warned me. Everyone said they fight and they hit hard. You can't warn anyone enough. So the fish come in, again, it was around a 40 centimetre fish. I'm thinking it's a pretty big sooty for me, but definitely felt under tackled.
Yeah, buddy, what a beautiful fish.
So straight away I changed my tackle up from there. I was anticipating bigger things to come for the rest of the day.
From our first spot, we went upriver a bit. We fished a few trees there that we thought might have fished okay, but just so happened that we were cruising up through a bay and BCF came the other direction. We kind of met in the middle. Can't find their own spots. Which we thought maybe that's what's maybe they've already fished it on the way back, so we just got out of there straight away. We went to another spot on the eastern side of the dam wall. Fished a few trees on the way and I threw this lure into this big pile of trees. It just got crunched straight away as soon as it hit the surface. Just went chaos. He's gone. Steve's hooked on and it's dropped over the top of a log. We're trying to go over to the tree, we're bumping into other trees. Mark's diving on a rod that fell over the edge around this little spindly. I was able to then drive in, through all these trees, tangled up, go straight through, I'll lift the rod over top of that. I've had my rod down the side, it's got hit. I think as he picked it up, a fish hit that, so he's busted that one off just to commit to the big one that we knew we had. I'm thinking by this stage, it's all over, forget about it. It's funny as, like, rookies, we've got a camera crew on board and we're just looking like a pair of dummies. Fair enough, he got the fish out and we're away. Oh, we earned that. We earned that one, brother. It was a long time to come, that was hard work. We got it in. That was the fish that we needed to pump this right up. Yeah, it was good. It livened the day up, I'll tell you that much.
Last night, I put a map on my sounder. I sat down with Liam. We sort of went through a few areas where I'd caught fish last year. So there was one last spot that I'd marked that we hadn't gone into yet.
We started heading towards some nice built-up timber. As we got in, we definitely noticed the trees were painted white with the shag scat.
You can see nests, so the shags have actually got nests in there and there's babies in them and all that, and that means when it's the roosting birds overnight, that bite is like has a time limit, so once the birds are gone, the fish sort of go back. But when you find those nesting areas, those fish are set up in there because the nest is always there.
So I could feel Dean's confidence going up, that's when my confidence started going up, and that's when if we're going to get fish, we're going to get them here.
Yep, hold him.
Good fish, man. Big fish.
Get him out, yep, you get him out, you get him out.
He was right down the bottom of the tree, dude.
That's all right.
Okay, here we go. This time, I was with the heavier gear, and it was still absolutely smashed me. I went, oh, this is probably a good fish.
Oh, yes, that's 50 plus, that thing.
I can't see it.
Yes.
Just a massive sigh of relief. I was just like, okay, I felt like I'd contributed to the team fairly well. Dean was awesome. He's like, mate, the mojo's with you. I'll take care of the fish. You get back in there.
Liam's doing well.
Yeah, buddy. Team effort. That was definitely the biggest sooty I've ever seen.
It was a slow day for us. It got tough. Oh, that's right. I lost two others. I hooked onto them and they got me down into the timber before I could get them, and I lost those. We weren't catching too much. We're in a zone where we tried cranker crabs. It was trusted and proven, and I sort of started to look at what other things were being eaten, not just the bird, feces. So I started to copy, what we saw on the trees, which were spiders. Believe it or not, what we're actually imitating here isn't crabs, we're actually imitating spiders. Something like that might potentially have a similar footprint to how a spider would drop. Yeah, we're able to sort of present what we thought, to the best of our ability, was a spider, and it works. Yep. Small crab? Yeah, just watch hooks. Yeah, soft hooks. Last one, good fish, last one. Can you turn that electric off, mate? Here you go, here he comes, very safe. think last year I'd thrown a cranker crab and I got dusted. So we knew that they worked. I wasn't confident on the size of the hooks. There's a new model come out, a bigger crab. So we thought we'll try it again. And those hooks, they're pretty good. So yeah, managed to wrangle a good fish out there. Yep.
Got you in timber.
I'm good. Here we go. PK, he's coming. Okay. That second run, bastard. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. That's a bag of fish, bro. Good work, buddy. That thing has won me some money over the last couple of years, I tell you what. And better still than that, the money's nothing. It's put me into a position where I managed to get on the AFC.
I just spoke about the joy of having that big fish. It certainly went from right up to sky high to fairly low in about a space of about 12 minutes, and that's why we love fishing. I cast it in.
Yeah, Dean.
Clunk capper on.
Just hold him. I'll get this here.
Not as big as a lot. Oh, yeah, he is.
He's all right. Oh, he's gone. What?
Adrenaline filled. I probably went a little hard on it and I pulled the hooks. And I just went, okay. I believe this was a pretty big fish because the previous hookies I hooked, once you get them past that first sort of initial fight, they then tend to give up and come in. This guy had a second run and he went straight down and then we busted the leader.
What is happening? The fish is gone. And some people dwell on it, oh, that was so big, we really needed it, blah, blah, but all that's going to do is just keep dropping your morale. So come on, let's keep going. There's no point worrying about it. Could have been bigger, could have been smaller, it doesn't really matter.
We were getting to the stage of the day where do we go for a barra, don't we go for a barra? We discussed it. And clearly the 3 points is what you're chasing. That's the #1 goal, you want that 3 points. You don't want the bonus as much as you want that 3 points.
Thought we really needed to upgrade one more fish, try and get a 50cm sooty. So we decided to go for that fish instead of the barra, which we haven't had a lot of experience with catching barramundi, so
3, 2, 1.
we'd stick at the sooty grunter. Within a couple of minutes, threw this lure in again and got that upgrade we needed. Nice little fight. He came out quite easy and he is a 10cm upgrade on that little fish.
Yes. Oh, I can't help swear, hey. Sorry.
That is the one we needed.
100mm upgrade, which is a big upgrade. So that was, yeah, a very happy moment. That's a long fish, not a fat fish. That makes all the difference. We're not here fighting for kilos, we're here fighting for centimetres. I've done that all my life.
Tensions were pretty high, weren't super high. Dean was playing pretty cool, calm, collected, but we certainly knew that we had to get another fish. We had that 32 in the well and we really wanted to upgrade it. I said to myself, if I can deem myself, hook one in the last 15 minutes.
Yep.
Dean, myself, and the cameraman were on the front deck. I wasn't letting anything stop me get this fish in, even falling on my bum. So I stepped back as far as I could to try and get the fish away from the snag. There was a big air gap behind my left foot, and then in style I decided to take a seat while fighting the fish, and we got it up to the surface.
Yeah.
Dean had a few swings at the net, and then we got it in. That right there is a fish I will never forget. Regardless of the result today, we were pumped, we were so amped to get rid of that 32, and just to do it in that style with a bit of comic relief is amazing.
I know, I'm pretty nervous. I think Mark is as well. We don't know how we went today. We caught good fish. We're hoping it was just as tough for Team BCF as it was for us, so we'll see how we go.
Here are the results for AFC Round 1 at Eungella Dam. Team BCF landed 5 fish for a bag length of 177 centimetres, with a big fish of 50 centimetres. Team Hobie also caught 5 fish for a bag length of 182 centimetres, and their biggest fish is 47 centimetres.
That's pretty good. That's a bit of a shock, to be brutally honest.
This gives Team Hobie 3 points for the win, and BCF collect a total of 2 points for the round.
Excellent. Well done, boys. Excellent.
Well done, mate.
Good on you.
Next time on AFC, with reigning champions Team Hobie taking the early lead, the pressure is on BCF to come up with the points.